Hello Internet. Welcome to my channel Global Issues Simplified, where I try to simplify complex global issues. So if you are doing a project in the school or just want to understand certain ongoing global issues so that you can make some cool points in a friendly debate, then you are in the right place. Today, let us take a simplified view of the term energy security. What exactly does it mean and why is it important today? I'll explain this with some real life examples. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard the term energy security, but what exactly does it mean? If we are to go by the definition mentioned by the International Energy Agency, energy security in simplest terms means ensuring availability of uninterrupted energy at an affordable cost. Now, two major aspects of this energy availability is one in the short term or the other in the longer term. In short term, the energy system of a country should be ready to react to any sudden changes in the supply-demand balance. A good example of short-term energy security crisis is what is happening in Europe due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. As a punitive measure, the Western countries has put harsh sanctions on Russia. Russia, on the other hand, knowing the dependency of the European countries, has reduced gas supply to Europe via the two major pipelines to 80% year-on-year as of October 2022. Remember, most of the European countries do not have their own fossil fuels and they are mostly net importer countries. Because many of the EU countries were largely dependent on the Russian oil and gas for generating energy and meeting other fuel demands, sudden disruption of that supply chain created a short-term energy security crisis. I'll share with you two graphs to explain the EU dependency on the Russian fuel. These graphs that I'm sharing are from the website Statistia. Thank you Statistia for making such data publicly available. I'll share the link below in the comment section if you want to know more on the subject. Now the figure on the screen shows the dependency of various EU countries on Russian natural gas. As you can see from the graph on the screen, that at least 8 EU countries imports more than 50% of the gas required to generate energy from Russia. The second graph will give you an idea how much Russian oil is imported by various EU countries. As you can see, there are 4 countries which imports more than 60% of the oil requirements from Russia. There are 6 countries including Germany which imports 25%, that is more than 1/4 of the requirements from Russia. Given the data that I just shared with you, you can very well imagine the crisis situation that has happened in these countries when the oil and gas supply got interrupted. If they had no plan B to counter this shortage, and apparently they did not, which is evident from the shooting prices of petrol and home energy bills in Europe and the economic burden that is putting on these nations. But for today, let me put that aside for another discussion. Let us now take a look at the longer term picture of energy security and understand why is it important. Energy security in the longer term means that a country should take proactive measures in terms of appropriate and timely investment to supply energy to its people as economic development takes place. Economic growth will mean requirement for more and more energy. This is true for all countries, as we have seen in the past in case of the developed nations when they were growing in the mid-20th century. I am showing in another chart which I found in one of the McKinsey reports. I'll be sharing the link in the comment section. It is an example of the exponential growth in energy demand in the second half of the 20th century in the Western economies during the period of fast-paced economic development. This historical fact is very relevant for the developing nations today. Maintaining a long-term vision on energy security is most important for fast-growing nations like India. As India's GDP grows, living standards will also increase. More and more people will have access to modern appliances and more households will have access to electricity. Economic development will also bring in more industries which will require more energy. If you look at this chart, you will see India's growth on key indicators as a percentage of global average on those indicators. As you can see, India's contribution to global average GDP per capita was 24% in 2000, which in 2019 had gone up to 44%. That is a growth close to double. This growth has resulted in increased energy demand, which was met by creating additional power capacity, as you can see in this graph. India's total power generating capacity was about 18 gigawatts in 2000, which was increased to about 23 gigawatts in 2019. The capacity was picked up in 2016 to almost 33 gigawatts. This graph also shows the breakup of different categories of power sources, both traditional and renewables, over the period of time, but I'll talk about that at another time. Another graph by IEA shows a projection of growth in demand. So if we consider the 2019 demand as 100%, then by 2040, different models show growth ranging from 55% to 69%. This captures the slowdown in demand caused by COVID. Without that, the demand was predicted to grow by 93%, that is almost double in 20 years. Let me conclude by sharing the challenges into India's long-term energy demand and security. The graph from IEA shows that by 2040, India's import bill for oil will stand at a whopping $255 billion compared to $100 billion as of today. That is an increase of about 1.5 times. As a country, what can we do to secure energy in 2040? One way is to move to renewable sources of energy as much as possible to reduce dependency on oil and gas import. But will it be possible? Another way may be to increase domestic production of oil and gas to reduce the bills. India can also try to make long-term supply contracts with some of the oil exporting countries. I would like to know your views on this subject. Please share your own views in the comment box. I would like to thank various online sources for creating such interesting infographics, and I'll be sharing the links below for you to go through it if you want to know more about this topic. I sincerely hope that you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It will motivate me to bring more such simplified views to you. Also, let me know what other global issues you guys are interested in so that I can make videos on it. See you next time. Be safe. Peace.